Hello and welcome to Inside Salem. I'm your host, Mike Allen. On this show, we try to take the major stories of Salem and expand upon them, give a little bit, flesh them out a bit, give some of the background information, and just sort of try to be a little more in depth. And for that, we have a panel of local experts who have been, examining the city for many, many years. And they are Teasie Riley-Goggin, political analyst.
Thank you, Mike.
Tom Furey, current planning board member, former councilor at large, and former school committee member.
Thank you.
And attorney Jim Fleming, former school committee member, former Ward 6 city councilor.
Nice to be here, Mike.
Welcome all.
Thank you.
This show is being taped on Wednesday, February 21st. Watching options are, of course, on channel 22. Also, you can do video on demand from the SATV website. And as of a few months ago, we now put it up on YouTube. And if you're interested in watching it, you just say YouTube Inside Salem, February 2024. Thank you all for coming. And the topics we're going to be talking about today, some of the topics will be the willows, a couple topics of the willows. The one, the flooding, and the other one having to do with a proposal to put a establishment with an alcohol license there. We'll be talking about the encampments along South River, and right on Red, and creation of an election commission, instead of having it being handled from the city clerk. First proposal, the first thing I'd like to speak about is Willows flooding. Are we any closer to getting anything done down there? Do we know what's happening there?
I think we're missing one important voice here who might at least have some information, even though he's no longer on the council, but from the council. But
yeah, actually, we normally have. It showed up on the credits. Domingo Dominguez, who's right in a much warmer place than we are. Right,
but I do think it can be solved. There's no doubt in this day and age it can be solved. I point to, I think Canal Street finally is solved, especially down by McDonald's. Yeah. I think it can be solved. It's A, will they spend the money, and B, will they do it? That's the two prerequisites to solving that problem.
Yeah.
Well, it's MONEY too, right?
Well, that's exactly right.
But the other thing is, I have heard that the loft that they have down there has been sitting there for what? Is it 2 years now? It needs to be rebuilt in the Willows.
Yeah, it's on schedule, I think.
Or more.
Yeah.
But they said that now that the harbor master has stepped in and will be taking charge of it. I hope that's true. But they said they do plan on using a concrete base, whether it be cinder blocks or whatever it is. But, finally they're going to put something that's going to be
pilings, permanent. Concrete pilings?
I don't know how they're going to do it, but they said they're going to use
well, that's smart. That'd be smart, too, because we have lots of... in my lifetime, twice, so I think that that's a smart idea.
Yeah.
Salem Willows are like Cape Cod, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and Cape Cod. There's the beautiful gingerbread homes down there. There's seawalls down, antiquated seawalls that needed to be repaired back in the 90s. Right. It was a Band-Aid effect situation, infrastructure, and so on. So I think it's going to be a collaborative regional approach between Marblehead, Beverly, and Salem. And we'll have more clout getting state funds that way. I think that's the Pangella administration has reached out to Beverly and Marblehead because it's really a regional problem, just not a Salem Willows problem. Yeah. And the money comes from the state, very limited from the city because it doesn't have it. Right. The money that came for the McDonald's and Salem State, the flooding on Canal Street, the lowest point of Salem, came mostly from state grants. Grants.
That's right.
And that really helped. It's really helped solve that problem.
It really has. I mean,
Major.
it was
Now, one of the things that we hear about down there is that there's the seawall, which has crumbled, is on public land, but there are a couple of properties that have a seawall that I guess has not crumbled, and they would be obligated to upgrade their seawall. Otherwise, they're going to be, majorly impacted in a storm. So if they do not, and the amount of money for them to do it is pretty high. I can't remember the number, but I was looking and saying that seems like you could build a lot of stuff with that amount of money.
Yeah.
It's actually private homes in Plum Island.
Yeah.
And some of them are really private property, and it's up to the owner of the property to do the restoring of the wall, the sand dunes, and so on. Very, very
The
expensive.
renewal of the beach down there has been at the expense of the homeowners on the beach. So
Yeah.
I mean, you live there. That's part of living there.
Okay. Yeah.
Council McCarthy.
Haven't they talked about the fact that to take some of the stress off of these seawalls, that they should put in what they call wave breakers? It's almost like putting in, what do we use on our streets to slow down speeders, right?
Speed bumps.
This
yeah.
is the same idea, but it's wave. They call it, I think it's wave breakers.
But I think they mean breakers out a little further
It
offshore.
is.
Yeah,
It is.
And I don't know if people would like that.
But they said, but that it would slow it down and the waves would not come in and with the velocity that they have now.
Yeah.
But putting them in would be extremely expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those residents could be asked for better representation. Councilor Bob McCarthy lived there for all his tenure on the city council. Councilor Bob McCarthy, president, acting mayor, and now Cindy Jerswick, the Ward 1 councilor. Her father was the Ward 1 councilor too. So they're very familiar. So I think with the collaboration between Beverly, Salem, and the Marblehead maybe, and the Pengello administration, things have to be done very quickly because that's an ongoing serious problem.
The thing is to start now, not wait till the fall, not wait till next winter, not wait till next spring.
Yeah, but that's unrealistic. I mean, government never starts.
I know, but they got to put the arm on the administration. Those homes, some of my relatives were flooded out.
Yeah.
And that's not right. That's not right. They pay more taxes than the average homeowner because they're near the water.
Right.
It's almost impossible to get flooded.
More insurance because they can't get insurance.
Can't get it.
Right. Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is it should be, I know it's the government, but it should be handled starting right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of insurance, people are being dropped left and right. One claim, small, medium, or large, and then the next thing you know that they don't want them. The insurance has gone up astronomically.
And you
My
can't
insurance,
justify it.
I don't live
You
near the
can't
wa-
justify it either. A lot of people are now looking at that question: automobile insurance and homeowners insurance. It's absolutely undefensible what they've done. The industry has done in the last 5 years, 10 years.
Well, they were sitting pretty. They weren't paying out, but now they have to pay out, and they don't like it.
Right.
Yeah, but they're really being put by the change of weather and everything and the storms we've had. But too bad. They had the good years, and now they're having the other. No.
Okay.
The only thing I'd like to make the point is it's just not the waves. It's the rising tides that really hurt down there because you get an astronomical high tide. No matter what you had there, it's going to come in. So you got to watch. You got to contemplate very high tides in addition to waves.
Okay.
I agree, Jim. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question from down the Willows. Along the strip there with the different businesses. There's a vacant spot down there, and someone has proposed putting in a restaurant, and they're looking for an alcohol license for the restaurant. The city, I guess the bulk of, they had a public meeting regarding it, and the bulk of the people who showed up for it were adamantly opposed. So Well, we're just waiting for the things and all that. So where do we stand with that?
Salem Willows, it was always family oriented.
Yeah.
Lots of children, lots of families. I'm not saying that when people come there on the summer
Lots of
months,
drinking too.
oh, yeah.
Lots of drinking.
But the whole thing is that they might bring in their little thermoses or their things and spend the day. They might have beers and things.
Yeah.
But right now down there, there's one place that not only wants to put in a liquor license, they also want to expand and have like a nightclub and bands come in and everything. Because the place where they just recently purchased goes back, and there's a lot in back of it.
I see.
And they down there, they said that it's about time that
Now,
the
I
Willows
don't
what the rest of us have,
Yeah.
I don't understand the concept of purchasing it. I was always under the belief that all those businesses sat on city land or parkland. And wouldn't it be up to the city what kind of, it is up to the city anyway, but what kind of operation they were selling to?
You
Wouldn't
mean
it-
that the strip is city land?
I believe so.
Yes, it is.
I believe
Yes,
so.
yes, it is.
I believe so. For my lifetime, I believe so.
So when this person bought, what did they buy?
I don't know. That's
Yeah.
that was my question.
Oh, okay,
The
yeah.
word purchased was I don't know what they purchased.
Yeah.
Is this almost like, having your own condo on a piece of land like the Community Life Center?
Just
It's
about.
almost like we're
Yeah,
leasing it?
Just about. But I think you would have to look first at that very first question. Who owns the land? It's not the any applicant probably. It's probably the city of Salem.
Yeah, I was always in the impression that was the case, and when this came up, I guess I was wrong about that, but maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's the
Because I thought the Campbells owned a lot of the land down there.
They own the businesses, but not the land.
Okay.
Salem Willows has been a jewel for generations, a family jewel, a family treasure, like Winter Island. And beside it, the neighborhood is a beautiful neighborhood down in that part of the Willows area, but it's subject to change. It hasn't changed over in the years. I can remember years ago they wanted to put a soccer field with lights there, and the neighborhood said no. Then they want to change maybe to maybe different things. Now, look at the miniature golf course down there at the Salem Willows. It's back in the 1950s and 60s, that little tiny miniature golf course that's not even used. So people need change. I think we need change. It needs to be more family oriented. I work at the PBS Museum, and it's much more family oriented than it was in the 50s and the 60s. People have changed, generations have changed. So I think that part of the Willows and the Willows itself in the city of Salem needs that change of environment. A new clientele, a new generation's moving in to the Salem Willows and using the Salem Willows. And I think it's frozen in time. I think it's time for change. And a liquor license, I think, is debatable. It's before the Park and Recreation Commission now, a liquor license for the liquor licensing board there. So I think
Maybe that's
it's a
why.
good time for debate and dialogue and discussion. Where do we want to go with the Salem Willows? We're going to fix up the pier, a new pier. We fixed up the landscaping, the walkways, the tennis courts, the basketball courts down in Salem Willows. It's a family jewel. So now is a time that it's a community debate, dialogue and discussion with the residents in the entire city of Salem. And the whole region uses the Salem Willows, the whole region, multiple generations. There's a black picnic during the summertime. It's one of the oldest picnics in the
Country.
United States for Black History. This is Black History Month now, as we are in February now, Black History Month. And that's been a long one treasurer for a Black History picnic situation down there at Salem Willows. So it's a family jewel, family treasure. But I think we need to debate and dialogue. It shouldn't just be frozen in time. Sometimes I like a Christmas ball we buy, and you see this, you tip it upside down, and it's absolutely beautiful. Something out of Curry and Ives, Norman Rockwell, and the snowflakes come down with the water inside. Well, that's what we've done to the Salem Willows. We froze it in time, and I think we have to change. The PBS Museum has changed over the years.
Tom, the Salem Willows is overrun for a number of months down there in the summer. But my point of being vehemently against the liquor license, and I am, is that isn't it sad that people feel in order to be successful that they have to have liquor? That's a shame.
The other answer is the whole coast to the north of the Willows is full of liquor establishments. I don't understand why they need a liquor establishment down there. If you prove it to me that you do need it, that's different. But I don't think you can prove it because
They can't.
all the way down from the wharf and Pickering Wharf down to the AmVets Hall, liquor licenses right along the shore. Yeah. Not as many as there used to be 20 or 25 years ago when there was 50 alcoholic dispensaries from Derby Street to the end of New Derby Street to the end of Derby Street. There's 50, at least 50 of them. Huh. It's a lot less now, but still, I think you have to prove, one of the humps you have to get over for me is prove the need for liquor down there. If you can, then I'll accept it.
Yeah, when they say hardship, what hardship?
Yeah, they always say hardship.
That's right.
Because they're going to invest so much money, and if they don't invest
I don't buy it either.
I spent 6 years on the Board of Appeals. I never understood the term hardship.
Yeah. Just follow up, Tom.
Sure, thank you.
In other words, we say it's a family place, and it's been, it's a jewel sometimes it's a little faded jewel, and then it comes back, and and there's a bit of a cycle there year after year. But it just seems like if we're talking about that we are trying to encourage families with kids, that obviously the kids can't. Well, I guess they can physically go in there with their parents into a liquor establishment, but but it's actually catering to a different customer than does the little boat thing and the.
But that's not new either, Mike.
Yeah.
There was dancing in the Willows in the 30s. Yeah. Big bands.
Was it?
Big band. Tommy Dorsey and the rest of them were in the buildings that are now the arcade or whatever.
Yeah. That's right.
Forever.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they didn't have the appeal, and but that's not new.
Okay.
The dancing aspect of it or the liquor license aspect is not new at all.
Okay.
But the PBS Museum where I work has a liquor license.
Yeah.
And you can have a drink from the atrium. You go buy it. And it's all families there eating it. So drinking is not necessarily like the prohibition. It should be a family-friendly environment. That people would bring their own drinks now at Salem Willows, regardless. They bring the beer and the liquor and so on.
Legally, we might point out, but yeah.
Yeah. You cannot drink in a park. It's illegal to drink in a park.
Yeah. So if that's the case, doesn't that preclude?
There's another issue. Can you issue for a liquor license in a park?
Huh. Well, actually, they do on the Common. They have a beer tent there on the Common at some point.
Common's different.
Yeah.
That's not a park.
Common's not a park?
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. I think she's right.
Okay.
I think it's a drill field or a place where you graze your cattle.
Yep.
That's long gone, but it's different than than a park like McGlew or Mack Park. But at the same time, I was involved. I was involved for the museum on their liquor license. But at the same time, it was very hard to get liquor at the golf course.
Okay.
Very hard. Now, they drew the line, and you can have it in the clubhouse, but you cannot have it out on the golf course. Like many golf courses have a cart running around and sell beer. You can't do it up at Salem Municipal. But you finally was decided they could have it in the clubhouse.
Okay. Well, there's a sign that in all the beaches, like down the Willows and around. The police used to go around in the summer months.
Yeah.
And they would walk onto Juniper Beach.
Yeah.
And go around and ask people to open up their containers.
Yeah.
And they would take them.
You wouldn't do it today.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't do it either.
Yeah. That would be certainly not something that thing. Before we get into our next topic, I actually meant to start off with a couple of different things here. One is I got a solicitation in the mail from the Friends of Council on Aging. And last time you mentioned that you doubled the number of people, that the Friends of Council on Aging doubled the number of people that they mailed out these appeals to. And before I send in a check, I want to know where my money's going. Can you clarify that to me?
Yes, I can. In other words, the Friends of the Council on Aging, they provide many programs for our seniors that would not be there if the money that people are donating, every penny of that is spent on seniors.
Yeah.
And we're very, very careful and it's closely safeguarded. And we have a wonderful committee that I was at a meeting this morning at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
discussing Easter and what's coming up, and that we're going to have, again, the same as we had for Thanksgiving, where we served, close to 340 dinners there at Christmas time, I think it was.
Yeah.
And
East, I mean, at
this
Thanksgiving,
time,
yeah.
this time though, we're going to say it is definitely just for seniors that are homebound.
Okay.
And we are going to set up a date. We have to set up a date and stick to that date.
Yeah.
Oftentimes the date comes and other people appear and they say, how can we shut the door on them?
Right.
But
yeah.
it's not working out. In other words, you have a budget, stick
Yeah.
to it. But we also, we have courses where the seniors go swimming at the Y. We pay for that.
Okay.
We now have a new one that we've never had before. It's going to be a Spanish class, and the seniors who are interested in learning conversational Spanish, and we'll pay for that. We'll pay the instructor
Yeah.
by the hour, pay them directly to the instructor that they would never have.
Okay. Yeah.
We have another one, which is one that the seniors, it is a psychological one, and people come and have just inspirational people there that they would never have. We pay a lot of the instructors that are brought in. It can be for an exercise class. It can be for a chair yoga class.
Yeah.
The city down there, the city does not pay for a large number of things for the seniors.
Okay.
Our seniors, right, I'd look at it and say, thank God for the Friends. The budget for the seniors in the city of Salem, and we have over 10,000 seniors here,
Okay.
and of course only a small percentage of them will go to the community life center.
Yeah.
For one thing, because the community life center is shared by Park and Recreation, a large part of the place is occupied, and we don't have room for a lot of things.
Okay.
But if different programs come in and the seniors come in and talk, and then to the program director, Terry Arnold, she's wonderful, Rosanna, another wonderful one. We have great people working there who work all the time. Some of them split the time between the Park and Recreation and, the seniors who are in the Community Life Center.
Okay.
It would be wonderful if that whole building, as far as I am concerned, my opinion, a senior center as it should be, and we find another
Let me
place.
expand. You said Rosanna, and I think you should say Rosanna Donahue.
Yes, nice touch. Nice touch.
Okay.
Her last
Donahue. All right. Yes.
Her last name is Donahue. She's a wonderful addition
Yes, she is.
to the senior life down at the center.
Yes. But if a new program is out there and they bring it in and we talk about it, and sometimes we will give it a try, and if it works, we'll keep it. If it doesn't work, then we don't keep it.
Okay.
Period.
Now, I assume the finances and stuff are public information. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what did the Friends of Council on Aging raise for money last year? Ballpark.
Right now I don't want to give you that number because I can't remember offhand. If I had known, I would have made sure.
Sound like the Stewart hospitals.
Yeah. But
You sound like the Stewart hospital chain.
but it's I know that money is coming in already, and I was going to say, for those people, you still have yours, or have you already sent a donation?
No, I have not. I want to know where my
Well,
money's being spent before I do that.
We're saying that Some people, a lot of people have
One
already
additional-
sent.
one-
But if you put that letter aside on your desk or in a cubby hole or on a table someplace
Yeah.
and say, I'll get to that, we're asking, please take another look.
Okay.
Is that
Because-
subject to?
Yes.
Is that subject to all the tax regulations? Are you formed on, I think, a 501c3? 501c3?
Yeah.
Are you 501c3?
Yes, we are.
Okay. That's,
So it's a tax-deductible donation.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so it's a tax-deductible donation. You sent out to 7,000 households an appeal letter for donations for the, for any time, and it can be mailed in at any time. If someone has tossed it, not paying attention to it, I'm going to assume that they can just make out a check to Friends of Council on Aging and mail it to the Community Life Center at 401 Bridge Street in Salem. That would get to you guys. Is that correct?
Yes, or the P.O. box. Yes, yes.
In other words, that's just okay. What would be the P.O. box?
I can't remember right now.
Okay.
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Yeah. So in any event, so if they, we're giving out the information now. So if
But
you
I'll
mail
come
a
back
Friends of Council,
I'll come back the next taping.
and we'll update it next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's better than investing in the stock market. I think every dollar given to the Council on Aging is better than the stock market because you can see the results.
Okay, and
stock
that
market's
is
pretty good right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That is, as I say, an appeal that was sent out. This helps for the seniors at the Community Life Center, which is more than just a senior thing. I mean, I assume that we did that at the time because we got some sort of federal money or something, which we didn't get. But it was when it was designed, we were supposed to get federal money
Correct.
because we did it, community-wide.
Correct.
But because of time frame, that didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
No, we lost it. We
lost it
Yeah.
due to non-diligence.
I'll tell you another thing that we have our Vice President, Pat Curtin, who has been working.
Vice President of the
Friends of the Council on
Friends of
Aging.
Council on Aging.
And he has been working and attending and playing pickleball, which is one of the fastest growing sports
And
that
where
we've
do
ever
they play
had.
that?
And right now they are using a place up at Salem State.
Okay.
But they do plan on having in a month or so a demonstration, and we're going to invite all the seniors that are interested in it.
Yeah.
And people who are handicapped also have an opportunity to play pickleball, right?
Okay.
There were people
They do it in
even
wheelchairs. They do it in wheelchairs, correct.
Yep.
Okay.
But I know that they were either going to play at Salem State in demonstration or down the Willows because at the park that they have.
Yeah.
But pickleball is another thing that we will be backing.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm saying.
It just seems like, I mean, I've only seen it on like TV and everything. It seems like you could do it inside the senior center.
You can. We do it at Brooksby. We do it in Brooksby.
Really? Okay, yeah. I mean, it's not that big a court.
No,
I mean, it's like half
not
the
a
size
big.
of a tennis
It's not
court.
a big court at all.
Yeah.
We do it inside at Brooksby.
Yeah.
Well, you probably could, but I doubt. You were a champion ping pong player.
Yes.
And we're not talking about standing over the ping pong table and just tapping it back and forth.
Yeah,
You're talking about being away from the table and slamming it too, right? Now, explain to people how you played.
Well, it's sort of hard. I actually played close table, but a court typically in a regular tournament, and we're not talking like the world tournament or anything, a typical court was 20 foot wide by 40 foot long, and you're talking about a table that was 5 by 9.
Yes,
so you
right.
can see how much space. Like at the Community Life Center, they have with at least a 20-foot ceiling for lobs. Now at the Community Life Center, they have a room that has 2 pool tables and a ping pong table in it. And by the way, that ping pong table is actually a real serious ping pong table. It's a Stiga brand, which is a very good quality brand. But there's like 3 feet behind the table or 4 feet behind the table. Now, one actual table tennis court in a tournament would be the size of that whole room that has 2 pool tables in it, as well as a ping pong table. So, that's just to show how much space that a typical court would be. And again, as you get up in terms of world championship or the U.S. championships, usually they even get even bigger.
You could play pickleball in the main hall at the rec center.
For a demonstration?
Yeah, for demonstration or for anybody on an hourly basis. It's you just put up a net and put out a couple of paddles,
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kim Emmerling in the Veterans Station is also down in the Council on Aging. So it's a very busy center. The veterans, Kim Emmerling, the
Terrific,
You can ask for a agent.
terrific veterans station.
Terrific.
Terrific veterans station.
Yes.
Can't say more for them.
So it's really a community center, really indeed.
Okay. Next topic, encampments. City Council is going to be talking about what to do about encampments and things. The question is, do people just have a right to, set up camp somewhere? I mean, that's what it breaks down to. I mean, what stops them from setting up a tent in front of City Hall or in front of Saltonstall School?
Well, they had it at the old town hall,
Yes. Yep.
and even had it underneath the stair area.
Yeah.
Right now, I believe the counselor from Salem, Willows,
People are sleeping there, but they're
Cindy,
not setting a
is
tent
going
up.
to have a meeting on it
Yes,
and
she
have
is.
a big discussion
Yeah.
Yeah.
coming up.
But you're right. It's public land. You can't do it. Look at Mass Cass and Cass.
Right. Was they allowed to have happen?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they found out this is too big a problem, and the mayor closed it down, took all the tents down. Supposedly they were going to take them out to one of the islands. I forget which one. I don't think that ever happened. At all.
Well, we're going to provide shuttle service for them to get back and forth?
No, there's a way out onto one of the islands. I don't know. I wish I could remember the name. There's a way out to one of the islands by road. I'm not sure if it's still,
Yeah.
if the bridge is still there or not. But there is a way out. But that was dropped immediately, I think, after they took the tents down. So I don't know where those people went, and I don't think they cared.
But the tents right now, they on the side by Wendy's and around by Flatbread and places. But now they are right in the middle of the walkway, the power walk, so to speak, that they have down there. And so it's a public way.
A lot of
The
money
walkway,
building?
they're on the walkway.
They're on the walkway.
Well, that's public land too, so they don't have a right to be there.
No.
What are you going to do about them, though?
Well, let's find out. As I say, Cindy, the counselor, she is having a big meeting on it. I don't have all the particulars, but
I think she'd like to take them away and ban them and take the tents down right now.
well, I remember Conrad Brzezinski. I mean, he was interested in it, and something happened there. So I don't know.
But where do the people go? Is my question. Well, these are people. These aren't.
That's right.
These are not robots. These are not.
That's right.
These are people. Where is the alternative for them? We certainly don't have any alternative public housing.
Well, you just
The last
look at-
administration did not build one unit of housing. Not one unit.
Not
No,
one
they
unit
haven't.
of affordable housing, you mean?
any
Public housing.
Any
public
housing.
housing.
Public
Okay,
housing.
yeah.
None.
None.
Yeah.
None.
And many homeless veterans.
Which I've advocated for years to turn the small dormitories over at Salem State Bates Complex to veterans. And it's a perfect site for not just Salem, but North Shore veterans.
And his neighborhood would be positive too.
And it'd be a positive.
But they turned it over to people from other countries that were seeking asylum, people we had never met, and our veterans who have right here in our own area that needed
I agree.
housing.
I agree. They did not listen to me. I agree. But at the
Yep.
same time, it's still not a bad use of the place either.
I agree.
But it should be only temporary. That should be a permanent veterans place.
We'll keep
Okay,
pushing.
but why? I just don't understand why. I mean, the governor has asked a couple of months ago for $915 million to pay for services.
I think it's in the budget.
What's that?
I think it's in our budget.
It is in the budget? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, this is from an old thing I have on here. $915 million which is like 2% of the budget, because the budget is 50 million, 50 billion. So this is almost $1 billion. Okay, for people, the residents, the legal residents of the state of Massachusetts, to pay for services for people who are here illegally. Back in the old days, when Ellis Island and Statue of Liberty, send us your poor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, when you came to this country, you needed to have
sponsor and a place to live.
You would needed to demonstrate that you would not be a burden to the taxpayer.
Sponsor and a place to live.
Yeah, either a sponsor or whatever. Why is that such an unreasonable thing? I don't understand why that's so unreasonable.
It's not, but the numbers are different today, I think. I think that, I don't know. I don't listen to the political stuff anymore because political stuff is so exaggerated on both sides that it's ridiculous. But I think the latest figure I saw was 7 million people have come in over the southern border this past year. Now,
I mean, are we going to have a budget of
$7
$1
million
billion
in the past year?
In the past year. That's why New York City is suffering. That's why San Francisco is suffering. That's certainly why the border towns in Texas are suffering. And it's real suffering. It really is.
Of course it is.
However, what's the alternative?
The alternative is to build a wall. No? That's what was working 3 years ago.
Didn't work. Didn't work.
The numbers, the numbers.
And they've already cut through the
lower.
wall. They've already cut through the wall.
The Biden administration cut through the wall.
No, the Biden
they allowed it to cut through the wall. Again, they cut through the wall. You see the hole in the wall. You fix it up. Not that you get 100% compliance, but you certainly do better than with just with caravans.
So then why did the Republicans reject that very plan in Congress this last month?
Because Biden doesn't need to have anything. He could have left in place the Trump policies, and we wouldn't have this issue.
No.
Second of all, he has the power to stop it.
I'm talking about the current legislation that was bipartisan developed.
Yeah.
Trump said don't let him do it, and it was stopped.
And the current legislation, which allows 1.8 million people to come here illegally every year. That's not a good deal. I don't see how that is a good deal.
But that supposed wall that the past president talked about being built and money being appropriated, this was all talk. We were not building.
Mexico was going to pay for it, by the way.
And we did lay off a lot of the...
Mexico was going to pay for it.
Well, okay.
They didn't have the money.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Well, you can argue whether by virtue of the fact that they give troops at the border,
well, we can't tell Mexico to pay for something.
The fact that when someone asked for asylum, they did not wait in the night. They weren't let into the United States while they waited for asylum. They stayed in Mexico while they waited for asylum. You don't think those type of things have a different, mechanism? I mean, when someone knows that they're going to come and they're going to ask for asylum. And asylum is not, you don't get asylum because you're poor. You get asylum because your life is in danger, basically. So you don't get asylum for your poor. So many of these people claiming asylum are coming here because they're poor. And I don't blame them for that. If I was there, I would try to come in myself. But, so here it is, they're claiming that. So in the old days, under Trump, those people needed to wait in Mexico while that claim was being processed. Now, they're let go into this country, and they say, okay, fine, show up in 6 years for a court date. Well, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That
bill included.
So the reason why that was
that
defeated.
Bill included hundreds of additional judges to do those applications at the border, they wouldn't vote for that. They wouldn't vote for that.
It codified $1.8 million of people coming in illegally. About 1.8 million people coming in illegally. I wouldn't want that to be passed.
Yeah. Homelessness is not an immigration problem, just an immigration problem. Homelessness is across the board. Families are living week to week, paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
You can't buy a house, you can't get a condo, can't get an apartment, even in Salem. It's a regional, national issue. international issue situation. My family was homeless. My family collapsed back in the 1950s. This is not a brand new problem. Six members of my family, mother, marched down to the old Salem Willows to the poor farm. The poor farm it was called back then. There was the O'Shaughnessy Hospital right near the Bentley School, and we were poor. We lived there for months. We were homeless. So it's just not a problem now. It was a problem back in the 50s.
Correct.
And families are really challenged now, living paycheck to paycheck at the Bates College
It just
and so
seems
on.
to me that $915 million should be spent on that.
Yeah, but the
Rather
only
than
thing is,
on-
Tom, your family, 6 members, they had room at the poor farm, and it was given to you. What's going on now, if it was now, the people that were in the poor farm, because of the people coming into this country, right? You would be pushed out, and these new people coming in would be put in. We're pushing our people out. Where Jim wants the veterans, to have up there, and I would love to see that. That whole place was turned over to people who were coming into the country, and our people have been removed. There's stories every single day on across the nation of people being bumped out to make room for people who are strangers coming into this country. New York right now is a mess.
Okay, and when you say strangers, I mean, that is a euphemism for people who are there illegally. No one is illegal according to the bumper stickers you read, but people are in this country illegally. We, as a sovereign nation, get to decide who is allowed into the country. That's what a country means. Every other country
But you
in
can't
the
be
world
so
allows people in that they want. Why don't we have that same right?
Because you have to have the mechanisms to let them get to be illegal, and we don't have the mechanisms.
Yeah, the other
We've
thing
never
is,
had the
Jim,
mechanisms since 2016. Nobody is putting the legal apparatus in place to let them say their case, say why they're suffering, say not poverty, but people like in Haiti where the gangs control the country, not the government, the gangs. And the gangs go around with machetes and cut off your arm if you don't pay up for water or for electricity or anything else. That's what's happening today. And it's different than what you're saying.
And so you said 7 million people came over here in the past
I think
year.
it's 7 million.
Okay, so those
I
7
said,
million people are all people who are afraid of gangs. Or
I
that type
didn't
of
say.
thing.
I didn't.
No, I'm asking
I don't.
the question.
I don't make that leap. I don't make that
Okay,
leap.
I mean, so the thing.
But
Okay.
at the same time, the mechanisms to determine their ability to enter this country legally or not are not in place, and nobody ever wants to do it. Nobody.
Correct. That has been ignored by both the Republicans and Democrats going back.
I agree. It's
years.
not a non-partisan problem. It's a partisan problem on both sides.
Right. Both sides are guilty of allowing lax border control. Back in 1986, I believe, maybe in that vicinity, Ronald Reagan allowed a amnesty. I'm not sure the year.
I was around.
And the amnesty
early
was
90s.
based on the fact.
Early 90s.
What year?
Early 90s.
No, it was under Reagan. Because,
Early 90s.
No, he was there 80 to 88.
Oh, I'm
Reagan.
sorry. Early 80s. I'm sorry.
Early
yeah,
80s,
early
okay.
80s.
So he said, okay, fine, we'll grant amnesty, but we need to have ironclad border control as much as possible. And part of what that was there was a severe penalty for businesses that hired undocumented, illegal immigrants. And they would fine the businesses. So here it wasn't on the regular person, it was on the bad guy businesses. And then out in California, the liberal court out there, the Ninth Circuit Court, ruled that you could not ask the question of someone applying whether or not they were there legally. And so therefore, if you couldn't ask the question, you couldn't fine the business for not for hiring the person.
hiring.
So that just went out the window. And again, the parade again started in there. And for the next wave of people that were waiting to be granted amnesty, if you can't have, how many years can you have 7 million people a year come in? And I don't believe it's that high, but it could be. But I don't.
I think that's the figure that the Republicans are tossing around right now.
Actually, I heard was going to be $7 million for the 3 years so far. No, that's what I heard.
No, I heard $7 million for this year, but that's all right.
Because the record month was December, was like 380. So just even rounding that up to 400, that only brings, that's less than 5 million.
5 million. 5 million.
Yeah. Yeah, so that would be like 4 million. Yeah. So that's what I've heard is the outside number.
Whatever, we're not solving it. Anyways, we're not solving it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't usually get into that.
Congress has got to get off their tail.
But it's hitting us here in Massachusetts with the money, and it's hitting us here in Salem in our schools. From that group of people that are at South Campus.
Can I add a fact there though? I believe that at least one person in each of those households that are over at Salem State properly documented for work. And for example, you do not have any work vacancies at Salem Hospital in terms of janitorial or housekeeping or anything to that extent. They have filled all those slots.
Okay.
And then the lieutenant governor is using that, not me, the lieutenant governor is using that same thing in her speech, her stump speech around the Commonwealth.
Okay.
So although it shows the willing to work too if it's done right.
Okay. Well, again, I don't have a problem that they're willing to work. I have just a problem that we're giving them tons of government money.
Well, I have a problem too. I have a problem too.
Yeah.
We have a very compassionate police department in the city of Salem, from the police chief down, about handling the homeless behind this very facility here.
Yeah.
The homeless are very compassionate because it's a very challenging problem, homelessness, whether it's the immigration problem or whether it's the family structure falling apart. And my family and families now situation, they're very compassionate police department. Conrad Pazuski is on the city council, Cindy Jesuit is on the city council, both former police officers. So I think they have a human face, a human voice on the city council. I think that you being on the school committee and seeing that problem at debates at the old South Campus at Salem State College, it's a very human face, a very human problem, not just immigration.
Well, the whole thing is we put a budget in, but then that budget is not really followed because you can't follow what you don't know is other things are happening all the time.
It's illegal to spend anything that isn't budgeted.
It's coming at people all seeing. The same as people when they go shopping. Every time they go to a local store, they're not sure how much money they really need for the things that they need because prices keep going up, up, up. The country has to do something about stabilizing so people know where they're at and what they're at. We've talked about insurance. We could talk about the price of cars. We can talk about the second-hand cars being more expensive than brand new ones. There's so much going on. Stabilization is what we need.
Even along the Canadian border, it's gone up to 400% of illegal immigrants crossing over from Canada.
400%. 400% is you can't go by that number. Because if it was 10 people now, and now it's 14, that's a 400%. Oh, pardon me. It was 10 people now, and now it's 50. That's a 400% increase. Right. So it's like it doesn't mean there's huge numbers. There's not one. There's not. I mean, again, this bill that was defeated was going to allow 1.8 million people a year to come in illegally. I don't see how that is a solution. When I heard that the Republicans were going to support that, that horrified me. I don't think that should have been supported. But anyway.
But I have one question for you, Mike, and then we'll move on.
Sure.
I want to know because it was used.
I think we're moving around now, though. Go ahead. Go ahead.
About the Biden administration.
Yeah.
Well, I look at the administration, and what do you consider the Biden administration? I feel that when an individual is sitting in the president's seat, that the entire Congress and anyone else affiliated with it, all of the FBI and anything you can mention, that they should all pull together and work with that man or that woman.
So you're thinking that the Republican Congress should work with Biden? Much
right.
like the last Democratic
course.
Congress, just like the last Democratic Congress worked very much
That's right.
with Trump. They just worked with Trump.
As opposed to against. This
Who would
right
work
now-
with that convict?
Okay,
Who
so-
would work with that convicted guy?
Yeah.
Who would work
We're
with
gonna
that
find
man?
out next year, I think.
Yeah, well, we certainly will.
But
if,
I'm
if he
saying
makes
they're
it to
still
next
serving.
year.
They're
If he makes it
serving
to
a memory.
That's
They
true.
are serving a memory of what they thought they had when they didn't really have it. I mean, I'm sorry. If you look at what a con job has been put and laid on the table in Congress for a long time, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, let's leave it at that and let's get on.
Okay, next topic.
Locally,
Nip
okay?
bans. City of Salem is still working towards having the little nip bottles banned in Salem. Seems like we keep asking the state.
Is it a big problem downtown? You're an
Yeah,
expert.
there's a lot of, you see them all, those little fireball things in the in the gutter all
You
the
see
time.
a lot, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't see it now because I'm not downtown.
Yeah, I know,
anymore.
but I mean, I'm asking you with
Yeah.
your past experience, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
If it's a problem, it's a problem, ban them. If it's not a problem, leave them alone.
Okay.
Oh, well, as opposed to, talking about what's in the gutter, why don't we work on saying to people, throw it in the trash can?
Yeah,
That
but-
might work better.
Yeah.
If you want to keep your little nips,
Yeah.
put the bottles in a
It
trash
did
can.
for most part. It did for a long time with cigarettes.
Yeah.
When they finally started putting ashtrays out there or places where you put your butt, it did for a long time. And now most people are not smoking, but I just don't know if you can tell people to put the nip
Right,
in-
because
in
usually
the-
a lot of the people are the homeless people.
That's right, that's
And,
right, that's right.
they're challenged.
That's right.
Many of them are challenged.
Right.
They're not gonna.
That's
they're
right.
not necessarily the best of citizens in a.
right.
Yeah, I just
in a way.
wonder though, when you go to through a sports event, maybe 65,000. If is that what the Gillette holds?
Yeah.
Afterwards, when they're cleaning up, do they have nip bottles all over the place
No.
or not?
No, because they're very. You can't get into Gillette with nip bottles.
Well, how do they know exactly what you have in your pocket?
They go through everything. They go through everything.
Yeah.
Believe me. In fact, the garden just tightened it up. Now, the size of a purse that you can take into the
Yeah,
garden
you
now.
can't take your handbag in if you're a
Yeah,
woman.
you can't take a handbag. It's like this. It's like a little.
You mean if I had, like
Dress
people who
purse.
wear money belts around on the inside
Yeah,
of their
you-
clothing?
No.
Well, I
They'd
mean,
know
I'm
it.
sure. Again,
If
just
you're a
like
smuggler,
anything,
maybe, yeah.
people can do.
Yeah.
Bring in
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
But it cuts it way down.
Right.
It cuts it way down. From,
Right.
From that. But so, anyways,
Nips.
there's been a proposal for blind lottery admissions for vocational schools, and where you just fill out an application,
Little unfair.
draw a name out of a hat, and that person allowed.
Little
and I guess the
unfair.
administrations have been pushing back against that. The folk
Right, a little unfair because your tuitions are paid by the cities and towns in that district.
Yeah.
And the bigger the city or town is, the more students they should have there. But if
Right.
you're doing it by blind admissions, you might not get your quota into that particular school.
Well, it seemed like they could do that, where we could put all the names from Salem in a hat and pull
That's
out
not what they've been
22.
saying.
Oh, that hasn't. I just
That's
assumed
what
that was their
they've
saying.
just been saying blind admissions.
When they say blind, they mean more blind than I thought. Okay,
yeah.
I just assumed the blind meant there's still, Salem was a lot of so many slots that would be pulled blind. But
Well, they could do it in their home city or hometown.
yeah,
And if they had 40 names and they'd allow
that'd be the fair
12.
policy.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
the fair policy.
well, the argument is that it's a specialized program, and those people that should be allowed in a way should be the ones that have shown more citizenship. More diligence working,
I agree.
things like that. I don't know. It
And
just seems
some
like those should be
mechanical,
part of it.
some mechanical ability, and some,
Yeah.
not just Johnny, just
Right,
because
yeah.
he applies and gets drawn out of a hat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but how many, what percentage, and they've been open long enough now, to see what percentage graduate from Essex Tech and go into an apprenticeship someplace or to work someplace right away with the training that they have, or what percentage of them go on to college.
I think it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. To be honest with you.
You think so?
1/3 go
1/3?
into a trade and have a job. 1/3 go into college. 1/3 go into the military.
Wow.
I didn't think it was that high. Okay.
That's my last explanation of that was at that with those numbers, but it
And
could
how
be
long
different.
ago was that?
That's a year ago.
Okay.
Year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it just is it still at 22,000 per student? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what it was when it opened.
Yeah,
21,
it's about,
22.
it was about 22,000 when I.
Yeah.
I would guess that was right.
Okay. Right on red.
Boy, they
City of Salem is
beaten that
trying
to
to-
death.
Am I red now?
It's trying to do away with white on red. Where do we stand on that?
Well, you know, Conrad Brzezinski was in charge of. They asked him to do some research. He did a tremendous amount of research. He counted every single intersection, every single right on red light, where any places with red light, and they have had meeting upon meeting upon meeting on this, but
Yeah.
they don't seem to come up with the final answer.
The final answer is they shouldn't be talking about it. This will lock down the city completely. If you can't turn right in Salem, on red in Salem, then you're taking the gridlock to an unbelievable level.
Because there's a lot of gridlock here.
Yeah, an unbelievable level.
But you know, there's one down there by Riley Plaza as you come down Norman Street and across, where they saw there's a stop sign there too, and then you can take the right on red.
Right.
But they come down and they think the stop sign is softly tap on pedal, because they go right around the corner. They don't stop. And people are crossing. That's a big crossing.
That's a
to
big
come-
crossing.
Yeah.
That's a big crossing.
That's a bad one, I think.
Well, again, there's intersections out there that have signs, no turn on red.
Right.
If there's an
right.
issue, then they should put up that sign.
That's
But
right.
to have it be blanket, that's a different story.
That's a different story.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
a different.
yeah.
That's gridlock. That's gridlock to an extent we've never seen.
Well, they have also investigated how many people have been hit, how many this has happened. They have been extensive.
How many people have been hit now on North Street?
Oh,
Yeah, how many people have been in an accident now on North Street?
Because of the new parking
Yeah,
configuration?
absolutely. It's
you
terrible.
mean complete streets?
Yeah.
Because there was money
But
for
we do
it.
have a bike lane.
You know,
do have a
I'm
bike
really,
lane.
you know, I think
We
about
do have a bike
Salem.
lane.
Yeah.
Every when money comes in and they put money out there to buy things, I say thank God that they're advertising some type of poison that if you could get a thing and buy a whole lot of it with the grant money. I mean, how many people would be allowed to have all these poisons that they paid for with them? The grant seems to change the way people think about safety. And if
Not the
people look at
people.
North Salem and say that works,
bureaucrat changes.
Salem
their
does,
thinking.
North Street does not work. It doesn't
No,
work.
it doesn't work.
No.
Well,
And neither will right on red.
no right on red.
No right on red. Excuse me.
Yeah.
No right on red.
Okay. Jim, you wanted to bring up a topic earlier,
Oh, I
getting
do.
near the end here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I want to just tell the people out there that St. Thomas Parish, along with St. John's and Peabody, I think, is sponsoring a St. Patrick's family dinner for $25. That's all the corned beef and cabbage you can eat, and there'll be entertainment. Music is by Brian Cochran, who is excellent, a great entertainer. It's going to be on Sunday, March 10th at 2 p.m. in the St. Thomas School gym. Doors will be open at 1:30. It's $25 an adult, $10 a child. And tickets are on sale after all masses in the parish office, and also by contacting Joyce at 978-968-5101 or Colleen at 978-326-8338.
Okay.
You know, Jim, I hear, not only I've heard about this, and they do a wonderful job with the anything that they have. But I've heard your thrift shop is one of the most financially solvent,
It is.
and how money
It's
you make.
actually, it really has helped the parish be solvent. You know, it's amazing what all volunteers, all wonderful people, and great donations, not just junk, very nice donations, and they do about 1,000 a week.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, 'cause
better.
they only
yeah.
open one day, I think.
One day,
Yeah, yeah.
one morning, really, 9 to 2, I think, on
Okay,
Saturday.
on Saturday,
Yeah. So it's amazing. It's an amazing story.
Yeah, I heard
Someday
it's not junk. Yeah.
Someday it should be written up better because they have been a financial boon to St. Thomas's.
And does that money stay with your parish that you raise?